Hello and welcome to the channel. It's Nathan here with Medita Trading. Hope everybody's doing great. So I wanted to take a look at this chart today as I think it shows the chart structure and the actions of market participants very well. And it's a beautiful looking structured chart and it's just traded to perfection for quite a while now. Now I'm not in this trade. There is some potential to get into this trade, but primarily it just shows a very nice sort of trend and how to get into trends once they're started, things to look for. And it shows sort of what institutional money can do when they really are controlling a chart. You know, when there's big players involved in a whatever it can be, stock, commodity, um, crypto, FX, you name it. You know, when there's some big players in control, it really can play out to a T. So let's have a look at it. And it's a stock that's on the New York Stock Exchange, Performance Food Group. Doesn't matter though, it could be any chart at all. And what sticks out for me on this chart is that it just shows a very well defined uptrend. You can see where I've scratched into the chart here this series of higher lows, right? So 1, 2, 3, potentially third higher low there. But it's the stuff that happens in between that's of more interest. So let's start with this consolidation area through here. There's a long period of consolidation here. We had this hammer candle that put in a low within the range, and then several months later we have another hammer candle that came down to test the lows of the range, and it held above this low, so it didn't break the low of this hammer candle here. And then there was a move up. So we tested at the same time then the 21-month moving average, which is the thicker blue line here. And then on the break of that, we just didn't look back. So we'll come back up to the weekly chart, and then you can see price then moving up in a very controlled manner for about 6 months. And there's a 50% gain there in that stock. So that's pretty good going. If you've bought that stock even without leverage as a big institutional player, which obviously I'm not, you're not, but even buying at spot there, that's a 50% gain in 6 months. Not bad going. And if you're using leverage on that, which I'm sure some of these big guys are, then you know you can just do the maths on what that kind of return could be. Or actually, it's hard to do the maths on that, but I think it's a lot. So that's a 50% gain up to there, right? So let's call that the insiders or institutional buying coming in at these lows within the range at the 21-month moving average. You know, I'm putting technical terms around it, but it's basically institutional money coming into the market there. So without looking back, it's gone up 50% in 6 months. We've then had this period of distribution that's formed what you could call an ABC correction or a bear flag, but essentially it's people that have bought lower selling, and there's more sellers into the market now taking profit than there are buyers coming in to bid up the price. Now, what's interesting in this next phase is that you can see on the weekly chart we came down to retest this level of support that was previous resistance within this range, right? So we came back down to this level to retest it. And then you can see on the monthly chart here, which coincides to that, again, we've had this monthly hammer candle down into the weekly 21-month moving average. We've tested it and we've bounced up off of it. And on the break of that monthly hammer candle, it's another retest actually the following month, but the high held again. Remember how we held the high back here with this hammer? And then we held the high here with this hammer. And then it's almost straight up and off to the races again. So from this low to this high, it's another 50% gain in about 6 months. So if you've traded just from the low to the high without trading in and out, that's a 75% gain in a year. If you've gone in and out of the market, then it's a 100% gain, even without leverage, in about 1 year. So that's some pretty good trading going on there. So let's just have a quick recap. So it's insiders, institutional money getting into the market for whatever reasons. It can be insider knowledge about the company, which I know shouldn't really go on, but I'm sure it does. Or it's just some whiz kid technical analysts or some big trader that feels it can push the market around. Doesn't matter what it is, but the smart money, let's just call it the smart money, insiders, institutional money gets in here, has this big move up, which is wave one. We then get a distribution period, which we'll call wave two. We get a retest of this level, and then probably the guys that sold out here are now getting back in here. So let's call this again smart money buying, right? And then they've gone up again 50% in about another 6 months. And you can see now that we have a change of pattern here, right? We've come from this uptrend, series of higher highs and lows, and now it seems like we're going into this distribution phase here. We've an equal high in the medium term chart, the weekly chart, and we're just testing the lows of this range now. So this looks like a distribution, a consolidation, a congestion or digestion of the previous moves. Whatever it is, it's similar in its process to this, which was this distribution pullback and retest of support. But this one is staying up here. It's not retracing so much. It's staying up at the highs. But it's given an indication that this trend right now is running out of a little bit of steam. Now, that doesn't mean to me that I'm going to go and short this. Actually, I never would, because we're in a very well-defined uptrend that you can see through here. What it does mean to me is that there's probably one or two options now for me to get into this trade, and it would only be to the upside. I wouldn't short this. But what I'd look for, ideally, is a bit more congestion within this range. I'd look for a breakdown out of this range, which would then give us potentially a test of this previous support level through here, which might by that point coincide with a pullback back into this ascended moving average. And if we got a monthly hammer candle here at a retest of the 21-month moving average, well, you'd have to swing the bat at that, right? Considering that we've had two of these before. If we got a third one here, that could be a nice place to get into the market on the monthly chart. We'd still be in this long-term uptrend. If you look at the monthly highs, we would have just gone into a bit of a digestion on the medium term chart on the weekly. We probably have a lower low by this point, a lower high, a lower low. But then if we found support here on the monthly with a hammer at this 21-month moving average, then I would be more than happy to get long and look for another move up at the next leg of this chart. So we could call that wave 1, insiders buying, wave 2, distribution, wave 3, insiders back in. Wave 4 then can be distribution and a pullback, and then we could get the fifth wave and probably the final one up to ultimate highs and new highs and ultimate distribution. So the other scenario, that's one scenario for me to get along with this chart, and you can see this is going to take weeks to play out. It's just a demonstration. I'll keep this chart on my watch list, but I'm not expecting it to happen anytime soon. It could take many weeks and months for this to get to this scenario. One which could come a little sooner is if we consolidate within this range a little bit more. We have a breakout of the range, so we take out the highs here. We'd need to close above this range, and then we could come back and do a retest into this level. And if we found support here and then took out this high, I'd be happy to get long around there with a stop loss below, and that would see me join in this potential next leg up of this trend. So nothing immediate to action on this, but I just thought it was a really nice, clear, concise chart to show structure and market participants. So I hope that's helpful, guys. It's as much for me, I know nobody's watching this channel yet, but it's as much as me just to log something away and reaffirm my own sort of process of looking at charts and trying to read these clues. It's a bit like reading tea leaves, you You look for certain things, um, and you can just get a bit of an intuitive sense for these things after a while. And it's about discipline. You know, I've had some pretty sloppy trades lately. I've not been happy with them. So for me, dialing into a chart and reading it in this kind of detail doesn't mean I'm ever going to enter this trade, but it's just nice to see the structure of things and a little bit of structure within the chaos that can often seem the way of the markets. So just a bit reaffirming, really, to be patient, think longer term, and only take the best trades and consider them. You know, really enjoying sort of sketching these out as well. It's like a an old, it's like a technical drawing almost, except it's digital. But you know, it's kind of fun to play around with because I'm a nerd. Anyway, guys, so hope that helps. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Think to subscribe and hit notifications, and I'll try and come back with some decent content soon. Alright, cheers for now. Bye.